Senate Budget Committee Chairman Bernie Sanders, independent from Vermont, expressed serious concern Friday over President Biden's proposed $12.3 billion increase in defense spending. At a time when the U.S. already spends more on the military than the next 12 nations combined, it is time for us to take a serious look at the massive cost overruns, the waste, and fraud that currently exist at the Pentagon, Sanders said. Sanders' words carry extra weight given his position at the head of the Budget Committee and as a progressive leader in the Democratic Party. He joins a slew of progressives in speaking out against the proposed 1.7% boost in defense spending. We need a fundamental shift in how we address national security issues and invest in climate action and pandemic response, said Representative Khanna, Democrat of California, calling the proposal disappointing and noting that it is well above defense spending levels at the end of the Obama administration. Those are the issues impacting the security of the American people and will keep Americans safer than spending billions on more deadly weapons. Biden Friday morning proposed a defense budget of $753 billion and a non-defense budget of $769 billion for the 2022 fiscal year, which begins in October. Progressives, including Sanders, praised the 16% increase Biden laid out for non-defense spending, with particular focuses on education and health. But their critiques on defense spending demonstrate tough battles ahead for Biden. While progressives called for slashing military spending by 10%, Republicans slammed Biden for proposing a figure that is, in inflation-adjusted terms, relatively stagnant. President Biden's budget proposal cuts defense spending, sending a terrible signal not only to our adversaries in Beijing and Moscow, but also to our allies and partners, read a joint statement by Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, Senate Armed Services Committee Ranking Member James Inhofe, I'm not going to say the rest of these titles, Rubio, Graham, and Shelby. Cutting America's defense budget completely undermines Washington's Democrats' tough talk on China and calls into question the administration's willingness to confront the Chinese Communist Party. Biden will need Republican support to pass any of the 12 appropriation bills that fund the government. Also going to get another government shutdown. So what I think is really interesting about this bill, right, is that I did a video where I talked about, and it did very well for a video by me. It had about, I think, 3,000 views, the $717 billion military budget. And I didn't address this in the video, but I think it's very interesting how with Roe, he mentions that a lot of that funding is towards weapons. And I wish that he and Sanders would point out that every year these budgets get bigger and bigger and the conflicts remain the same. These budgets have increased over the course of the last 20 years. We've been in Afghanistan since then with no signs of getting out. You know, smaller durations of time have also passed for Yemen, Syria. You know, just if throwing more money at this problem that doesn't seem to be ending year after year is going to fix it, then how much more do we need? $1 trillion in funding for these overseas conflicts? But it's amusing that as these Republicans sat by McConnell and the rest of them that aren't Rand Paul and Mike Lee included, and watched Trump's military budget, exceed in size and just get bigger and bigger each year. Now they're saying with Biden, I can't believe you're making this smaller. We need to confront our enemies. Because apparently if you cut out, I don't know, 10 million from this, oh man, China's definitely going to get us. That 10 million would have made all the difference in the world. And then it's like, I want you to think about this. Like, I didn't follow the Russiagate stuff, but the consensus among a lot of people was that Trump and Putin were allies. So cutting the defense spending sends a terrible signal to our adversaries in Moscow, but not the president that people say was buddies with Putin. And like, who cares about China? You have a virus that's killing people. A bunch of mass shootings that are leaving people deceased. A bunch of students that go to school just to get ripped off, and you're worried about China and what they think of your budget. So I said American politics is just a loop-de-loop game of grandstanding and, you know, getting worried about things that don't really matter. Did communist China make us have a virus that killed hundreds of thousands of people? I find this so insane. But I do agree with what Rose said about investing in climate action and the pandemic response, which are two things that a lot of Republicans don't even believe in anyway. Like, you have a majority of Republicans in office that don't even think climate change is a real thing, and a lot who don't think that the virus is real even after it's killed this many people. So, I'm not surprised that they would, not support funding those things more instead of supporting more overseas conflicts that continue every year with no change in the situation other than how long can we trick people to spend more money on this problem that doesn't go away.